Okay, so coming back now. So we've just finished basically drawing the plan of the column and the surrounding decorations. The decorations being this part here. So what we're going to do from here is, before we draw these volutes onto the plan, I think is it volutes? I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's something like that. But anyway, before we draw those, we're actually going to dive into the elevation drawing, okay? So basically drawing the side profile of the column. And this one's going to be a bit easier to do because you've already got a lot of your measurements on the plan diagram already constructed. So let's have a look. So on this side here, you can see I placed the bottom of the drawing here, and here's the top up here. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. Again, you can kind of move it anywhere you like on the page. I'm just putting it here. So same again. Take that line through. Take that line through like that. Okay. And you'll notice that on this side of the drawing here, I've got 3 equal parts. There's 1, 2, 3 spaces here. And basically that area there, it's basically where the spiral begins, right? So it's like, here's like the bottom of the spiral, and here's the top of the capital here, okay? And everywhere between that space is where like all of this decoration goes. So if we actually measure 1 unit, I'm just going to do something real quick here. Okay, there we go. So have a look, 1 unit on the elevation is actually equal to 2 units down here, okay? So basically what that means is that the distance from this part and the top here is made up of 6 of these units. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. So to do that, you're going to take your compass, you're going to place it on point 0 right here in the center. So place the needle there and open it up to number 6, okay? Right there. You're going to take that measurement and you're going to, I want to place it on this side actually. I'm going to use this side of the page. Actually, no, I'll use this side of the page. And you're going to place it on that corner, okay? So this horizontal line is the top of your drawing. This line here is the side of the drawing there, that side of the square. And on that corner is where you're going to place that needle. So just draw an arc like that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw another vertical line. There. Okay, so that's like my measurement line, just like what I've got down here. This line I need to divide into 3 equal parts, just like I did on this side. So I've got a tool here which is a proportional divider, and you can open and close it into like basically any measurement, and you can divide things into equal spaces. So if you've got one of these, you could just measure 3 equal spaces and do that. They're not really easy to find. I don't really think you're going to find something like this in a regular art store. So if you want one of these, you're better off ordering it online. But I'm going to tell you what you need to do if you don't have one of those. So if you don't have one of those, here's how you divide it into thirds. Have a look at like this little box that I've constructed here. I'm going to draw from corner to corner, that line there, and same on the other side from corner to corner, there. When I do that, when those lines cross, that finds the center of that little box. So I'm going to draw a horizontal line through that center, and then taking my set square again, I'm going to draw from the corner here to this part of the center on this line here. And where that line intersects with that diagonal, that is 1/3. Okay? You can take your compass, place your needle on that line that you just drew, and you can just inscribe a circle like that. And where that circle crosses that vertical line, that right there is the other part that you need. One, 2, 3 equal spaces right there. So yeah, that's a pretty quick way of doing it. Okay, so this point here, from this corner to this corner, that's like the edge of our capital. So we're gonna draw a line in there. I'm also gonna label these. Okay, so I've got, let me just extend these lines. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, like that. You can divide, what you need to do now is you need to divide the distance between 2 and 3 in half. Once you've got that, just draw a horizontal line straight through there. What you're then going to do is you're going to divide the distance between that point and number 3 into 4 equal parts. So divide that in half, and then divide those in half again, and then that makes 1, 2, 3, 4 equal spaces. On that bottom at the bottom quarter, you need another horizontal line traveling through there, okay? So then you get that. Let's see, what else do I need now? Number 2 has a line going through it. Okay, so now what you're going to do is I'm going to make another vertical line now. This is going to be another measuring line. I'm going to place it inside here. Okay, so where you divided 2 and 3 in half, that's going to be the top of this new measuring line, and this is going to be the bottom, okay? What you want to do is you want to divide that measuring line in half. Here's how you do it. Take your compass, put the needle on the bottom of that line, and just open it up more than halfway, okay? So I'm going to open up the compass more than halfway the length of that vertical line, and I'm just going to sort of inscribe an arc. And then once I've got that, I'm going to move the needle onto the top of that line, keeping the same measurement, and I'm going to inscribe an arc going the other way. And that right there is my perpendicular bisector. So once I've got that, I'm then going to create a notch in the vertical line there. Okay? And now that I've got that, I'm going to divide both of those sides in half. There and there. And you can also measure it if you have to. So now I've divided that line into 4 equal spaces. I'm going to divide those spaces in half again. And now I've got 8 equal spaces. So I'm going to number those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, because we're going to need that. We're going to need those spaces for our elevation drawing. Okay, so let's have a look. What do I want to do here? Before I move on with the elevation drawing, I'm going to come back down to the plan, and I'm going to try to draw a bit more on the plan. So let's try and draw this structure here, like the corner of the cap, right? So what you have is you've got these sort of lines from the corner. I'm going to highlight them here. Got these lines traveling from the corners in that direction, okay? And that line travels from that corner to that part of the column right there. And same here, this one travels from that corner to, and it connects to that part of the column there, that vertical line of that semicircle, right? And that creates this sort of isosceles triangle that's pointing towards the column. So I'm going to highlight that triangle right there. And that triangle is what you use to draw the corners here, okay? So I'm highlighting those for you now. So we're going to draw those in. So taking our set square from this corner travels to that vertical axis of the smallest semicircle there. Just going to draw that in. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I'm going to do the same on this corner, on that point there. So lining it up. Like that. And this side here. Okay, there we go. And then, where these arcs touch those angles, that's where you want to draw a 45-degree angle, connecting those points together. And it might not come out perfect. You may need to shift some things around in order to make this work. But hopefully you get it bang on. So the thing about drawing geometry, it is pretty tricky, and sometimes things don't line up as well as you would like them to. It's going to go about there. Okay, so there we go. what I'm going to do, have a look at this line here. I'm going to drag that up onto the elevation drawing, right? So I'm going to transfer that measurement onto the elevation drawing. Just with a vertical line. And I'm darkening the spaces between that part there and that part there that we measured out, okay? Now I'm going to connect them together. Same on this side. So I'm just transferring all of those corners into the areas that they need to go. Like that. So I'm drawing that part of the structure there. So draw that part. Line through there. Line through there. That part's done. Okay. Then have a look at this small corner here and here. Do the exact same thing. They're going to get transferred onto this horizontal line here, number 2. Okay? So you're transferring those up. I'm just going to leave these little dash marks there, just as a reference. Like that. And then once they're in, you can draw that curve in like that. Okay, there we go. And that one is in. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this line now, which is like the top part of the column. So to do that, I'm going to go to number 2 and number 3 on your small measuring line. And you're going to divide that distance in half, like that. Once you've got that, move your T-square up there, draw a line, there you go. And now I'm going to use my set square to transfer the width of the column here onto the elevation, just going up to that part there. Okay, like that. All right. Let's darken that part. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at that. Have a look at point number 3 there. Draw a horizontal line from there, cutting across your diagram, like so. And that's the width of that little piece there. See that rectangular formation? That's the part that we just drew. And now what we need is, we need this part, okay, so the semicircle, which is just outside of the column, you're going to transfer that one into that little gap that you've just made. So this is where it gets a little confusing because there's like line work everywhere. Okay, like that. What you're going to do now is you're going to tilt a 45-degree set square, and you're just going to make a 45-degree angle from that corner there. Same on the other side, from that corner there. And then that 45-degree angle, that's basically telling you where the curve begins and ends, right? So if you look at what my pencil is doing, I'm drawing a curve like that. So the curve starts here, ends there. You could use like a really small compass to draw this in, but it's really not necessary to do that. Okay, there we go. So that's basically the column part finished. So now what we're going to do is we're going to draw each of the flutes of the column. And it's the exact same process. So let me just lift my set square up a bit. There we go. So align your set square with the edge of the flutes there. And you're just transferring those up. So when I transfer things onto the elevation drawing, I start light. Once I get to the actual drawing, I then add a bit of pressure onto my pencil until I get to the point where I need it to go. And I'm stopping at that line there. Okay? And it's just a much quicker way of doing it. So light, then add pressure. Start light, then add pressure. Start light, pressure. And so on and so forth. And you just keep practicing that until it becomes a much more automatic movement. But that's the problem with these drawings, like even though they're really beautiful, they quickly get very confusing because there's just so many lines to draw. Like that. Doing the same again. So just a light touch, then I apply pressure on that part. Light touch there, there's the column, add a bit of pressure there, stop at that line. It's actually really easy once you get the hang of it. That's all there is to it. So, this flute's looking a little bit wide here, and this one looks a little narrow, so that's a bit of a mistake. They really should be wider in the center, and then they should appear to be getting narrower as it approaches the edge. Because that just gives the appearance that the column is turning away from the viewer. So, bit of a mistake there. That's just simply because I drew it wrong somewhere there, so that's why that's happening. But anyway, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the height of those flutes, so where they begin to arch. I'm going to put a horizontal line there for reference. And I just finish those arches. And those arches do get narrower as they approach the edge. There we go. That's how you draw the flute. So pretty easy so far. What we have to do now is, so basically what we're doing is we're kind of drawing the column or the capital just on its own without these spirals, okay? That way we can sort of keep on top of all the geometry and just not get too lost in the diagram. You know, it's always good to draw the parts that you can't see first and then draw the parts that you can see on top of it. So now what I'm going to do is, see this line here, this vertical line? I'm going to extend that onto, wait, do I even have it yet? What was that? Hang on, I think I just got lost. Oh, yeah, okay. So, okay, before I do that, actually, have a look at point number 6, and hopefully you've been numbering all of these points so that you can keep on top of it. It's definitely a good idea to do that. But go to point number 6 and draw a horizontal line through there. Okay, once you've got that, then see this vertical line here? Extend that vertical line onto number 6. Very lightly, doesn't have to be dark. See point number 4 on that line? You want to also draw another horizontal line again. This is where it's going to get tricky now. Okay, so now have a look at point 3 and point 4. Point 3 begins here, and then you've got point 4 above it there. What you're going to do is you're going to sketch a semicircle that originates from those points. See that? And you can do the same on the other side. You can just freehand it. As long as it looks like a semicircle, then that's good. Okay, and then the point here and here, you're going to use a compass. So I'm going to use my small one. And I'm going to inscribe an arc from those points like that. I'm going to do the exact same thing here. There we go. Extend that line further still. And then we draw a line attaching that point there and that point there, okay? It's basically what we've done here is we've sort of drawn the silhouette of the column, like the side profile, without the spirals included. Okay, so that's basically what the column looks like without those spirals. That. Okay, so, and then what you can do from here is all of the details you can draw, you can transfer them onto the elevation drawing now. Let's have a look. I actually forgot to draw the details in this ring here, so I'm going to do that quickly. So you got like 2 of these circles either side of the arrow, and then you got like this oval which sits like that. The oval is the same width as this egg, so use the egg as a reference. That's the thing, when you know the proportions of the decorations, then they're very easy to draw. Just going to continue that on the other side. And it doesn't have to be perfect. They're just details, so, you know, no need to obsess over them. There we go. Okay, so got that part drawn in now. And then what you can do is you can transfer those details using your set square onto those platforms. Okay. And I would recommend just kind of sketching them in very lightly, because you know you don't want too many lines on the page. So if you're doing this part, I would just do that. Just kind of line it up. And then just a single stroke that way. And that way it's just a bit easier to keep on top of the drawing. Like that. I'm going to leave it there for now. Okay, so let's come back to our other diagram. Let's actually start drawing in these spirals. So let's actually have a look at the edges and where they lie. So here's the edge of the spiral here. Have a look at where that vertical line sits. You can see it actually cuts that flute right in half, right there. And this edge is actually aligned with that part of the corner there, okay? So we found that part. Let's go ahead and sketch that in. So we've got the edge there, got that part of the flute. Wants to go there. And of course we've got the bottom, which is going to be somewhere along there. Let's do the same on the other side. Halfway. Okay, so there's that. If I divide the distance between here and here in half, I will have found the edge of the other volute, which is this part here. So we're going to do the same over here. Got that part there. And the center of the spiral, actually, if you have a look, it's actually aligned with the very edge of the column, right? If you have a look at the center, it passes through the center of that spiral there. So we've also got that. So let's go ahead and extend that vertical line upwards. And this side here. Oops. Okay, got that. And if you have a look at the horizontal center of that spiral there, if I draw a horizontal line through there, it actually cuts that form right in half. Okay, like that. So, I know I'm going to mark it with a plus sign, but that right there is going to be the center of those spirals. That's where they're going to be placed. So cool. So I'm just marking out the edges. There's a tangent there. Top of the spiral is tangent with that horizontal line here. So that will be going there. It's going to be a tangent there. And here. Okay. And now I'm looking for the insertion or the origin point. So the origin of the spiral is that part right there. So if you have a look at this part of the arc, if you follow that back and have a look at where that touches this semicircle, the largest one, where that arc touches is the origin point of our spiral, okay? So I'm going to draw a vertical line very lightly from there. Onto that point. Same here. Like that, okay? So I already know what that part of the curve is doing now. That's made that a little more predictable for me. I got that part of the curve there. And it's not going to be a perfect circle because these spirals are actually tilted at an angle away from the viewer. So that's why you have to draw this in freehand. So it's going to put your free-handed skills to the test. It's tangent here. Yeah, these are really difficult pieces to draw, but practice makes perfect. And yeah, there is a more technical way to do it. You can see like, you know, like in some of these architectural books, you can see how they've done like enlarged diagrams. And then from here, it curls back up and hits tangent with this vertical line here. So yeah, really tricky part to draw. Okay, so have a look at this horizontal line here now. This part of the curve hits tangent with that line. So that's where the next part of your spiral is going. Like that. And same on the other side. Like that. Okay, and now what I've got to do. So what I'm going to do now, have a look at the distance of this part and this edge here. I'm going to divide that distance in half. So, you know, you could use your compass to do that and put like a perpendicular bisector in there. But, I mean, this drawing is so small that you can just do it by eye, really. There's no need to be that obsessive about it. That, and I think I do the same again. So from the center here, let me measure this, except maybe it's not correct. No, I think it's actually this point. So I think it's this part just under the center and the bottom part there, you have to divide in half again, which would be somewhere there. Okay. And there's going to be another tangent there. Whew, tired. Architectural drawing is really tiring. Who would have thought? So now I'm dividing the distance between the center and that edge in half again. That's where the next part of my spiral goes. And there. And same again here. So again, you know, there are blueprints that you can refer to when drawing the spirals. But this drawing is a lot on the smaller side, so you don't really have to do that. You can just get away with freehanding it, really. Just going to draw an oval around that center. Since that is where the spiral inserts into. Okay. There we go. So that's one part of the spiral. So now I've got to draw the one that's inside. It's going to be a lot easier to do now. So have a look at the width here. I'm actually going to use that width for the spiral that I'm drawing. So I'm just placing a measurement which is the same as that. And then I'm just following the form. And it gets narrower and narrower as you approach the center. And again, there are more technical ways to do this, but not really necessary in a drawing this size. But you can see how that's narrowing as I get to the center of the spiral. There we go. And same on the other side. And here's a little trick you can do to keep it even on both sides. Just have a look at that point there and just transfer that horizontally. And same with this piece down here. Just transfer that horizontally. Same here as well. So, you know, that's just like a much easier way of kind of mirroring your proportions, really. Okay, there we go. And that line there, remember, that's like the other side of the curve, or the spiral that sits on the other side. So I'm just kind of duplicating this curve around here. So I'm doing that. And then what I'm doing is I'm just going to give a little bit of thickness to those spirals. There and there. I'll do the same on the other side. There we go. All right. So I'm just having a look here. Now I'm just transferring the proportions of the spirals onto the plan view. So here's the edge here. So if I transfer this edge of the spiral onto the plan, it's going to be about there. Then I'm going to just draw an auxiliary curve, just very lightly. That part there and there. There we go. It's going to help keep my proportions retained. And just keep referring to this part of the diagram here. So you can see that the top edge of that spiral is sort of tangent with this arc. So that's what I'm drawing in now. That. And same on this side. So this is like the trickiest part of the drawing because there's a lot of freehand drawing involved in this. I'm just drawing like an ellipse basically. And that part Alright. 6 square. Okay. So I think at this point, just copy what I do. Because I feel like I would struggle trying to explain what it is that I'm actually doing. It's really complicated. And that goes there. So yeah, very difficult part of the structure to draw. You can see that little knob there is actually that part, that center there. So it actually protrudes out in the plan view. So what you can do from here is get your compass, and then from the corner of that square that you drew initially, you can use that to help you draw the rest of this. So I'm looking for the center of that part of the knob there. And notice that it hits tangent with the silhouette of the plan diagram. With your compass, you're going to take that point, just draw an arc, and then there you'll find its mirror image on that side there, okay? You can actually do that for every single part of that drawing. Like that. Need to make that wider. Like that. That one there. So all of those ellipses that you drew, you can actually transfer them across like so. And it just helps you to draw these proportions a little bit more quickly. And again, if you're having trouble drawing this part of the structure, just sketch it in lightly. Try to work out the problems as you go. There we are, got all those arcs. There we are. So what's left to do is to draw this little piece in here. So to do that, I'm going to draw a freehand, but having a look at the center of this object here that originates in those crevices. Just going to freehand draw this part of the structure. Like that. Add a little bit of thickness to those points. And then finish off with a curve like that there. Same again on this side. Like that. So that right there, basically the plan diagram complete. So now all I've got to do is finish the elevation, which at this point is kind of easy because it's just detail now. So I'm going to transfer all these eggs and arrows and decorations. I'm going to transfer them up to the perspective drawing. Okay, so there's one. It's actually getting a bit dark in here, so just needed to switch the light on. And I'm just using my set square just to kind of help me out with drawing those more detailed elements. Okay. So it's all just decoration at this point. Just putting in the basic shapes of those leaves. trying to sketch those decorations as fast as I can. So now all I'm doing is just kind of sketching in the details, adding some details to those leaves. But other than that, this drawing is basically done. You can see the structure. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave the video here. Since it's getting pretty dark, so the lighting isn't very good now anyway. But I am going to post the finished drawing on Instagram soon for you all to see. And yeah, that's basically the process of doing an elevation drawing. So I hope you all had a lot of fun with that one. And hopefully I can get around to finding the time to post more videos like this very soon. Okay. Yep, I'm going to leave that there now because I'm getting distracted by all the detail. But yeah, there you go. Elevation drawing 101. So here's the finished piece, all inked in. I decided to wait till the morning, until the lighting was a bit better in the studio. But yeah, there you go. All the proportions, all the geometry, like I've left all of that in place. So you can actually have a better look at all of the work that went into it. But yeah, it's probably worth taking a screenshot of it if you're going to try and follow this design. I can probably zoom up on some of the proportions there. And there as well. So yeah, grab a few screenshots of those and yeah, give it a go. It's tricky, you know, like elevation drawing isn't easy to do, but it's all practice. But yeah, give it a go, see how you get on with it.